Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a question that sounds simple, but, well, it's really not. Who actually controls the internet? The answer is way more complex than you might think. So let's start peeling back the layers. You know the idea we all have in our heads, right? The internet is this massive, open, borderless space, a digital cloud floating above all of us that belongs to everyone and no one at the same time. It's a pretty amazing concept, a real global commons for all of humanity. But is that really how it works? Because when things go wrong, when a service you rely on gets blocked, or when harmful stuff starts spreading like wildfire, or when you find out your data is being misused, it becomes very, very clear that someone, somewhere, is pulling the levers. So who is it? We're going to start with the most visible layer of control, the one we all interact with every single day. Let's call them the platform kings. I mean, you know all these names. Billions of us use them every day, and they're not just websites. They are, for all practical purposes, the gatekeepers. They host our conversations, our videos, our pictures, our searches. They basically curate the daily internet experience for a huge chunk of the planet. And their number one tool is something you can't even see, the algorithm. Now, this isn't just passive hosting. Algorithmic power means these companies are making millions of choices for you every second, what to promote, what to bury, what you see first in your feed. They're not just hosting our reality, they are actively shaping it. And all of this power is a classic double-edged sword. On the one hand, we want platforms to remove dangerous and harmful content. But on the other hand, that exact same power can be used to silence protest movements or deplatform people with controversial ideas. And it forces us to ask this really fundamental question. Should a handful of private companies have this much control over our modern public square? Okay, so that's the corporate layer. But let's go deeper. Because that whole idea of a borderless internet is running headfirst into the oldest power structure in the world, the nation-state. Right now, we're seeing three main approaches to government control popping up. In the West, it's mostly about regulation, using laws like GDPR or the Digital Services Act to control how companies handle data. In China, it's about direct censorship. The Great Firewall, as it's known, just blocks access to sites like Google and YouTube. And then you've got Russia's model, which is all about isolation. They're building something called RUNET, with the ultimate goal of being able to completely disconnect from the global internet if they choose to. So what happens when you have all these different digital borders going up? You get something that experts are calling the Splinternet. That single global internet that we've known for decades, it's starting to fracture. We could be heading toward a world with a Chinese internet, and an American one, and a European one, each with different rules, and they can't all talk to each other. But we can go even deeper than platforms and governments. To really understand who's in control, you have to look at the physical foundation. I mean, what is the internet actually made of? Let's just cut through the marketing for a second. The cloud isn't some magical, ethereal thing floating up in the sky. It's a very simple, very powerful truth. The cloud is just someone else's computer, a very real, very physical computer. The physical internet is this hidden world of massive fiber optic cables running under the oceans, connecting entire continents. It's huge data centers, some of them the size of a shopping mall, filled with servers and routers. And here's the key part. Just like the platforms, all of this essential hardware is overwhelmingly owned and run by just a handful of private companies. And that concentration of ownership is just staggering. When we talk about the cloud, the back end that runs millions of websites and apps, we're really just talking about a few giants. Amazon, Microsoft, and Google control a massive majority of that market. A huge piece of the internet literally runs on their hardware. And that physical dominance gives them immense power, not just over smaller companies, but in their negotiations with the very governments trying to police them. So, who organizes all of this? Well, this is where a super important but little-known organization comes into play. ICANN. The best way to think about it is as the internet's phone book. It doesn't control what's on any website, but it manages the entire address system. Without ICANN making sure that the explainer.com actually points to the right computer server, the whole system would just be chaos. So, we've seen the corporate layer, the government layer, and the physical layer of control. What does it all mean for what's next? Well, that future isn't set in stone. There's a battle for the soul of the internet being fought right now. And it seems like there are four main paths we could go down. There's the Splinternet, which we've already talked about, a future of even greater corporate domination, the more idealistic vision of global governments, kind of like a UN for the internet, or this radical shift towards a decentralized web, what people call Web 3, where technologies like blockchain try to give power back to individual users. So, why does all this matter? I mean, this isn't just a technical debate for engineers. It matters to you personally, because whoever wins this fight, whoever controls the internet, gets to control what you see, what you can say, and what is known about you. It's about the future of information, free expression, and your privacy. So the bottom line is this. The internet's future is being written right now by all of these competing forces. And the real question that we're left with is, who do you think should be the one holding the pen?